Welcome to the Mastering FacilityWare series pipe labeling video. In this short video, we're going to talk a little bit about regulatory compliance, the aspects of a pipe label, how you can resize while you're working on a label, and then we'll go through the actual making of a simple pipe label. So this little note here is just to let you know that there are many different regulatory compliance bodies, guidelines, and recommendations. They do not necessarily represent law. Your organization is responsible for choosing the regulatory codes that it wishes to comply with and for basically creating your own process for that. We can't really give you guidance on regulatory issues, but we can help you with compliant labeling, which is what we're going to do here. So the aspects of pipe labeling, the three main aspects are the label material size, the letter height, and the label material color. Those are dictated kind of by the guidelines that you wish to follow. So the label size is usually based on the pipe size and the viewing distance. The letter height, generally speaking, is full height for the label size, but that can also be based on your the code that you wish to follow, as well as your viewing distance. And then the color is usually also based just on your regulatory code and your site requirements. So just one little quick note on resizing a pipe label. The height of the pipe label is based on the pipe size. That's the size of your material. It's based on the pipe size. The length of your label is variable. It will depend on the words that you're putting on the label, so what you're labeling. Now, when you make a pipe label, you're not always going to choose the right label length for the task, but that's not a problem. In FacilityWare, you can resize your labels at any time, even while you're working on an existing label. So let's take a quick look at a few things. Now, like I said, industrial safety solutions can't really give you guidance on what standards to follow and how to do what you're going to do. But we do have some free guides, so make sure to contact us. Our information will be given at the end of this video, and we can send you these guides for free. They can give you some guidance on how to set up your pipe labeling. Now, for the purposes of this video, we're just going to use one of these references. This may or may not be the reference that you use, but let's go ahead and choose one of these simple ones like a chlorine gas, which is in this type of standard, it is black on yellow. So chlorine gas. So let's go ahead and make a label for that. First, we'll fire up FacilityWare. Now, select a template will come up. You'll notice you'll choose your material type. Let's say it's a large pipe, so we're going to use a 4-inch. Well, let's do a 2-inch label. 2-inch continuous vinyl. Now, label size. We do not necessarily know how big of a label we need for the words chlorine gas. I'm just going to start with a 2x16. That may be too large, it may be too small, but I'll go ahead and hit create. So now we have a 2-inch by 16-inch label. I'm going to use the stretchable text object here. Type in my word. I'm going to change this font to be Arial black, a little bit easier to read from a distance. I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to stretch this out. Hey, we got actually pretty close. Notice how I'm stretching beyond the edge of the label. Now, to fill this up, you see these letters don't take the full height of the label, so I'm just going to keep stretching it. I'll zoom out a little bit more. No. Now you can see here that to get full height letters, I'm going to need a longer label. Now if you look at the toolbar the ruler at the top of your label, there's one on the left and one at the top. You can see I need one that's a little bit more than 20 inches. So all you have to do in FacilityWare, you can do this while you're working on the label. Go up to the File menu, go to Label Setup. Now this can be a little confusing because it says width and height. The width here is actually the width of the material, which is 2-inch vinyl. The height in our case is actually the length of our label. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to 21 inches and hit OK. Now you can see it actually fits on there pretty good. Okay, so now we have a chlorine gas label. We can print that out. It would be the size we needed. Let's make one more. Let's assume that we want to know the direction of the material flowing through the pipe. So again, I'm going to do a 2-inch label again. Now we know it's a 21-inch label, so I'll just set it to 20 here and we can increase it. These pre-made selections just go from 1 to 20. So don't worry, you can go further than that. I'll hit create. And actually, we're going to need it even a little bit longer, so let's just do that now. Label setup, because we're going to add an arrow. Let's make this 24 inches. We'll put in our text first. Set our font, and we'll just stretch it out using those green dots. Okay, we've left ourselves a little bit of space here. We got our chlorine gas, and we're going to add an arrow. Now let's go to the pictogram section. You'll notice there's an arrow section and an image section. You'll find arrows in both. Let me show you how the arrow one works first. I'll click it, drag it, and drop it. That gave me an arrow. Okay, well, that's may or may not be acceptable for the type of arrow that you want. With the arrow selection, you can double click on it and change some options about the arrow. Head position, stem thickness, slant factor. This is basically a mathematical way to create the arrow that you want. I'm not really interested in doing that, so I'm going to delete this arrow and I'm going to use the image. I'm going to click it, drag it, and drop it on my label. And I'm going to browse to the arrows folder. And then in here we'll see some different types of arrows that we don't have to create or maybe can't create with the arrow object, like this chevron style. What you want to do is find the one you like that says preview on it. See, this is arrow 008, and choose arrow 008 without the preview. This is the file that we want. So there's a chevron style. I kind of like that, but let's just say that this one is not what our code calls for. I'll hit delete, and we'll try another one. This one is what we want. Okay, now with these images, you can scale them and stretch them however you need to. If you need it going the other direction, you just simply double click on it, go to rotation, and you can flip it. Okay, you can also duplicate that arrow and put it on both sides, or whatever you need to do. But that's pretty much the basics of creating a pipe label with a directional arrow. And that's pretty much all there is also to creating pipe labels in general with FacilityWare. Again, if you need additional help, I encourage you to call our number 877-762-9280, and we can send you some free guides or give you any additional information that you might need.